Hello, Tech Talk Worldwide. Hello, hello. So welcome back to Tech Talk Live. And as you guys well know, we have Sam Biddle with us today. And Sam, I can't thank you enough for taking time out to be able to share your time and your knowledge with us. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm honored that you asked me, and I'm so sorry it's taken so long to get connected because I know we've had to postpone it and do a few little things. So, but we're here, and it's obviously the perfect day.
Yeah, absolutely. And no problem at all. We understand that everybody's lives are extra busy. And what's one of the advantages is that we're worldwide. So one of the things we always have to look at is the timing, because we don't realize that, like, here it's afternoon, but for you it's the evening time. It's way past dinner.
Yeah, well, it's not. I haven't eaten yet, so salad waiting on the side. I saw it as I went in to get my cup of tea, and I'm like, oh, salad.
Well, you can eat if you want. We don't care.
Well, I do have supplies. I have some grapes here, but I'm munching on those, so I've been very good.
Yeah, so this is very laid back. So if you want to eat, you can. So Sam, one of the things I want to touch base really fast is, so you guys know that Facebook is having some court kind of issues where they were saying that, like, people making comments on, like, the lives and they're downloading and sharing these lives like what I do. And so it was sharing the people's names. So on my Be Live program that I'm using, it's just telling me that there's a comment from Facebook. It doesn't tell me who you are. So I am going to keep my phone onto the side and be able to try to incorporate that. So just know that I'm not saying your name because I can't see it. They won't let me yet. They're working on it, though.
Yeah, there's a few people that have come on and said hi. I have actually got, actually, I probably don't even need my phone. I've got it. I've got the computer. I've got one screen with some of the comments on there, but I'll let you go with the comments and I'll just talk. I'm good at that.
Well, so all of you, I can see that Anita's watching us, and Kim, and Alicia and Deanna. So you guys, thanks for joining us live. So I apologize, I won't be able to see your name, but I will see your comments. So if you have questions for Miss Sam today, because if you guys have not followed her at all, let me just go back into time, into my career. So you guys know I've been licensed, as Tracy Boyle says, I've been licensed since the dinosaur age. But 26 years is what I've been licensed. And I want to say, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I was looking through a nails magazine, and I saw Sam Biddle's name on there, and I'd seen it a couple times, but you know how there's so many names and so many, nail celebrities out there. But you were actually showing how to do nail art with the calligraphy pen, and I was blown away. And from then on, your name was a staple in my brain. And so you've taught me a lot. And so I've stalked you on more than just Facebook, but through magazines and all of the social media sites. And so I've been a fan of yours for many years.
Well, that's so nice to know. And it's really funny because when we first we had a little chat earlier on, and when you said that, I'm like, oh, because you just don't realize who you connect with and who you touch and how you affect people. It doesn't even need to be within the nail industry or as an educator or anything like that, but just talking to a neighbor or talking to somebody else, it's that person that you can connect with that you may absolutely change their day. And being part of somebody's career is amazing. Like, it really is amazing. And it's why when I hear things like that, I'm like, if I've had the worst day ever, it makes it so much better. I'm like, okay, this is why I do what I do.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I actually will post things like that every now and then on my page. This is why I do this. And I'll, screenshot the comment or whatnot, because I don't think we put ourselves out there, and you're the same way. You put us out there on social media, and then it gets shared on YouTube. It gets shared bigger than what we will ever know. And we never know who really is watching, or like me stalking you for all these years. Yeah. And you're so right. It's so heartfelt because, when you're passionate about what you do and you really want to see other people succeed, it's rewarding to hear that. And it's just a simple, like, thank you so much. Sometimes you're like, God, I didn't even do anything, but you don't realize that just a smile sometimes is what did it,
Definitely. I've literally just had I have my own group. I have a members group for online education, and last weekend I invite all my members, but 25 of them, only 25 places are available. So it's like a frenzy when I open the doors. It's like 48 hours and it's booked.
Yeah.
So we had this event happen last weekend for just members. So it's very closed. Nobody is, there's no outside people. So we're all real family. But it was just so lovely being around these people and being able to connect with them. Because when I go and do a face-to-face class, I turn up at 9 and I leave at 4, and that's it. And you're teaching. So this is the whole weekend that we spend together. And although I'm still educating, there is a connection, a better connection. So I love that. And I think that for me is how I want to develop my career. I don't necessarily want that in and out thing. I don't want to be anonymous anymore with I want to be able to be part of their life.
And you can tell it's because you're passionate about what you do and you can't wait to share that. So let's go back. What got you wanting to be in the nail industry? How did you get started?
Okay, so don't hate me.
We can't hate you. That's not possible.
No, actually, I didn't. The nail industry wasn't even on my radar. We had a family business. We sold the family business, and we ended up with some money because we sold the business, which was quite nice. That didn't last very long, but I was sort of sat there with 2 children and not really needing to work. I was like, yes, I'm going to be retired at 30. Yay. And I was so bored. And I loved art. I've always loved art. My friend was really into nail art at the time, and she got, I don't know if you guys remember United Beauty Products or Star Nails. Yes.
Yes, actually, very well.
Salon QVC, and she'd buy all these little nail art kits, and so she was like, we get together and just play with all this stuff. So then I started playing with it more, and then she's like, oh, can you do my nails? And so I phoned up the company, because then everyone was asking, and they said, oh, you have to be a nail technician. I'm like, oh, okay. But I didn't want to pay retail for it. I've been in business for years. I wanted to pay wholesale, So I'm like, fine, I'll spend £1,000 then. That was a lot of money for all the products that I didn't need. And that's it. And I just needed to practice, and it just sort of snowballed and I perfected nails, but it was the art that got me in. And I was only ever interested in the art. And it was when I went to a competition that I was actually sat. So the one thing I had to do was, right, okay, I have to get my pink and whites right. I have to do color. I have to do this, that, and the other. And I started working with Easy Flow because that was the only color company out there that was, for me, gave me the freedom that I wanted. And then they said, right, everyone has to do a competition. Pink and white competition, because pink and white, I can do a good pink and white. I'm not going to bash my pink and whites, but I don't like it, and I don't feel comfortable doing it. So I'm like sat there, and the woman next to me is doing zips on her nails, on her model. She's making zips and things. I'm like, I want to do that. And I literally sat there probably for the whole competition just watching her. So I didn't place very well. I think I got 16. And I'm like, I got in the car with my husband and I said, I'm doing fantasy next. And that's what I did. And then every time I entered fantasy, I won it. So I just did it again and again and again and again. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And then for me that was like, okay, so I found my little joy in the industry, because clients, they're okay. I had a salon and stuff, but yeah, I'm like, give me nail art and give me a student, and I'm happy. You know,
Oh
clients.
my goodness. What that's hilarious. I have somewhat of a similar story to yours because you're right. So my family was all hairdressers. I mean, my grandfather was a barber in the military and then had his own barber shop, and he was sheriff at the same time. Could you imagine like being the sheriff of the town and the town barber? Like, and then my mom was a hairdresser. My aunt was a hairdresser. Like it ran in the family, and I'd go help in their salons. I'm like, I don't know how you guys can stand up all day. I don't know how you can do it with their stinky hair. Like, but guess what? I wanted their kind of hours. I wanted, kind of that and to work in the salon with them. But I was going to be a paramedic. I wasn't going to be a nail tech. The nail tech was just so that I could, have income to work in the evenings while I went to school to be a paramedic. Like never did I imagine it would be my career. So I went and competed. Oh, I don't remember what year it was. Let's just say it was in the 90s. And I was super excited because I had, the only link that we had to anything of knowing, nail stars and stuff like that was honestly the magazines. There wasn't the social media and stuff. And so I knew of like, Amy from Profiles and Tracy, like some of the names, John Hawk and all of us. So I remember going into this competition thinking, I'm going to know some of these techs. You've never met him in your whole life, but because of magazines, I know them just like I knew you. And so anyways, I'm, kind of starstruck, and I sit down at the show, and I kid you not, John Hawk sits right next to me at this competition. And do you think I could focus on anything I was doing? And I had to do pink and whites and like, oh my gosh. So anyways, I remember looking over thinking, I'm just going to copy anything that he does, right? Well, the whole time I'm looking at him like, I've never used an e-file before. And I mean, this was years ago. And I'm looking over and I'm like, I've never thought about doing that before. And what, oil on your buffer? And I'm looking over like, you would never do that in a salon. And that's the moment that I realized the competition nails were different than salon nails. And then I got to watch the fantasy nail art. And the rest of the show, I skipped education and went and watched all of that. And then the next year when I competed, I only went for the fantasy nail art. And I didn't place. I think I got like, I don't know, like 20th or something like that. But I can tell you it sprung me into an entire different level in the nail industry. And I've never looked back like you. It's been my passion, and I've never regretted that. So too bad, like what you said, we have to work on clients every now and then, but
I know.
it's
I've got
practice.
3 of them. I only have 3 clients left. And they will not go. I am the rudest tech ever. Like seriously, I see sometimes nail technicians, they complain about their clients. They should complain about me. Like I don't give them coffee. They come into an office environment. I'm like, oh, can you give me a minute while I finish this email? And you're late. Why are you late now? I'm seriously, I am so rude, and they will not let me go. I've tried so hard. So I might just up my price. That's the only way, I think. But I don't know, maybe not.
Actually, we were talking about that yesterday of how, when you do build your clientele and you want to start, narrowing that down to certain days and certain hours and, restructure it, how do you get rid of clients? And, most of the people, they say, raise your prices. Usually that doesn't. It doesn't always work.
I don't think these 3 will ever leave. I really don't. And I think they've been with me probably from the start when I first started with my salon. So not when I first started doing nails. So gosh, we're talking like 13, 14 years. And they are, one of my clients, she buys me a Christmas tree every year. And then 2 of them come in with bones for the dogs every single week. So they're family really more than anything.
Yes. I owned a salon for 6 years in a big town, and then we moved to a smaller town. And I was there for 18 years. And I can tell you when I moved again, and I've lived now where I live for 2 years, the clients that I started out with were the same ones that I had to say goodbye to. So 18 years from the birth of my daughter all the way through it, you become family. So it's hard to let that go.
It is hard. Yeah, they remember the kids when they were teeny tiny. And now they come in and they're like 23, 24, and they're like, oh, everything. They know everything. And
yeah, I actually got a gift yesterday. So I've never, ever have received a gift with my salon name on it. or even my name. We did a Christmas exchange thing, and so it said it's a clock that somebody had handmade for me, and it says Amy on it. But just yesterday, one of my clients who she is a winter like a snowbird, so she leaves and goes to Lake Havasu and then comes back in the spring. So she just came back, and she goes, "I've been to a lot of nail techs, Amy, and I could not wait to come back to you. So I got you something, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but she got me a wine glass for my lives, and it actually says Perfect 10 Nail Studio Amy Masters on it. Like my very first gift after 26 years. I don't even want to use this. I'm just going to save it. And she goes, no, you have to use it. You have to. And I'm like,
at the end of the day, when your clients go, you cheers, bye.
Yeah. Little did she know. Oh gosh, I should never let her know that we just said
I'm so mean to them. But one of my clients, this is closed, right? No, I'm not going to say anything. But one of my clients, she loves coming, and I am so mean to them. And I tell them, go, please, whenever you want. I don't mind. But you know what? I think because we have this, I only have every other week on a Wednesday. That's the only time they can get in with me. And if I'm traveling, then they have to reschedule. So that's it. I'm like, that's the only thing. And I've said to them, I'm not doing nails. I'm only doing nails because you guys are fun and you're going to pay me money to buy shoes. That's the reason why I'm doing it. So that's it. So yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And I swear.
Well, okay.
Don't. Whatever you do, give my name out to anybody else. I don't do anyone else's nails. No, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's funny that my clients protect me, and they'll be like, "Oh, who does your nails?" They're like, "Well, Amy Master does them." However, you can't get in.
Yes.
Like, they protect me. They're like, "Oh no, she's mine. That's it."
Yeah, that's it. You can't have her. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam, let's get back to your career because I could talk to you all day, obviously, very much. So you at what year did you switch over and decide you were going to be an educator? Because you've been with Orly for many, many years.
Yeah, so I was with EasyFlow first. I started with EasyFlow, I think, in 2002. I do you know what? I don't know why I wanted to be an educator. Oh no, I do know why I wanted to be an educator. I opened my salon, and within 4 months I was diagnosed I have breast cancer. And I literally 4 months, I put all my money into the salon, and I'm like, oh my God, John, you're going to have to learn how to do nails. So, no, it was seriously like that. John's my husband. And he was working in the salon as well, but he was doing like piercings and all of those sort of things. So, and I was working, and he was part-time because we had small children. So we decided to swap roles. It was a good, easy way of doing things. So I said to him, you have to learn how to do nails. I went and I said to the oncologist at the time, you have to give me an extra week. I can't go to hospital because I've got to train my husband how to do nails. And she's like, I don't think this. I said, seriously, we'll lose everything. We can't. So he literally had 1 week to learn how to do nails. I did my clients in the day. Bearing in mind, I had cancer. I was trying not to think about any of that. And at night, my mum had the children, and throughout the night till like 11 o'clock at night, I was like, do my nails. And he just did my nails for like the 5 days. And then Alison still comes to me. He did Alison's, I think Alison was one of the first people one of my clients he had to do when I was in hospital. So he didn't do too badly.
Oh my goodness.
I think then, and I come from a family of teachers, and I loved the idea of sharing. I am quite an impatient person, but I'm really patient with people, with students, because I can listen to them and I sort of understand, I can see what they need from me without me just talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, okay, so I don't need to say that because you get that, but you do need to hear this. So I sort of can do that. So I decided to, and I think after I came back after the cancer and everything, I thought I don't want to sit and do nails all day. I wanted to do something else. So I think that I went for Easy Flow. That was, I don't know, it just started like going into nails. It was just a, I did it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And don't you realize sometimes too, we all know that, we all have an illness or something that we kind of have a life-changing thing where we put back into priorities. And is this really what I want to do? And it doesn't mean you have to get out of the industry. You just have to refocus and restructure onto what part of the industry you want to, be the passion. And obviously for you and I, it's both the art and the education side of it. And what a great platform, though, that you were picked up by a company that, hopefully they help to give you product and pay for you to be able to travel around and go to shows. So the added bonus to that is that you got to travel around and be on a bigger platform. And so do you enjoy that?
Well, back then, I mean, EasyFlow was a tough company, and it was like, that was the one thing I loved about it. I don't see too much of that happening now, but I love the fact that the education you got. In fact, I realized this the other day, and I was speaking to a friend of mine who's also used to be an EasyFlow educator, and I'm like, gosh, do you realize we had some kick-ass education? Like, we really did. Yeah. I'm now so grateful for Anthony Buckley, who really is the person that, at the time, I was like, okay, so you're telling me how to do it now that I really don't want to do because I don't like pink and whites. But really, it was the underlying foundation that I'm seeing people just not get. And I don't know if it's because I had to go to a class. I had to invest money, time, effort, and I practiced and practiced and practiced because I wanted to be at that next level. I had that element of ambition. But now everything's so diluted and there's a lot of different information. You don't have one person to follow so much. And I think people struggle with that more. And so they're like, oh, I'm not sure what to do. They're getting a little bit here, or they might be cooking dinner as they're learning something about how to do a pink and white. Or for me, I'll sit and watch stuff and I'm watching TV. I can't do two things at the same time. So I'm a girl, but I'm not that good. So, and I think that's really the difference, I think, from then. And yes, of course, then the better I get, the more shows I go to, then people want to see me. We didn't have social media then. So then it's like, oh, let's put Sam on that desk because she can do fantasy, because that was the draw, because obviously the company wants you to sell products. So I'd sit on a desk all day and just do fantasy nails. That's what I do. I was like, this is my dream job. And that was it, really. That was the wonderful thing about it then. It's not like that anymore, though.
Yeah. And, I think it's a lot more confusing these days because you're right. We just had a few people that we looked up to, and that there wasn't as many companies and so much competition. So we really watched up to honestly, 4 or 5 companies and their educators, that were there. And it's nice when you go to a show. However, there's so many people, they're showing you one technique. You don't really get to talk to them about troubleshooting, what you've experienced with their products and stuff. But now the social media, there's all the DIYers as well. And all these people sharing their knowledge on YouTube. And sometimes they're not even licensed, but they had so many followers on their YouTube that they went with it. And then you're getting knowledge that's not always accurate. This is why I do Tech Talk Live, is I bring you guys on that have been in the industry for many years and get knowledge from companies, get knowledge through, the true knowledge. Because what people are learning out there, I think that's why there's so many different allergies now. I think that's why there's so many different problems that are going on with health issues and stuff like that, is people do not truly know their products. They're mixing and matching too many products. They really don't know the foundation, as you were talking about earlier. They're so focused on getting to the art that they're not taking the time to do the proper prep, and all of that. And it's all about fast. We want to be quick. And if you talk to any of us in these nail groups, it's quality, over the quantity. And so, yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. I think it's a fine line, and it's only something I'm realizing. Before, I'd see posts on social and I'll be like, why don't you know that already? Or, why is this an issue? Why is this not covered in education? Because I used to educate beginners. I had to, at the time, EasyFlow did not have a manual. and EasyFlow did not have any lesson plans. I went to school and learned how to be a teacher. I went and did night classes, and that I actually loved. It was not a now thing. That was college. I actually went back to college. Horrible. But I loved doing all the little, just learning how to be a teacher and doing lesson plans and building handouts. And one thing that I love to do is play games and have challenges and interact. I can't do that on a face-to-face, but I can do that at a weekend. But on a long course, I can do that. And it's that type of education that we are not seeing, because like you say, it's quick, or it's £25 to learn how to do acrylics, or, you know, come and learn acrylics in an afternoon. And I'm only just realizing how blessed I am to have had the education and the people that actually they're still there ready to give you that investment. But it's so hard to go, but I'm serious, you know, because there are people out there that say they're serious and then they're not. They don't read. There's a lot of people that just don't read.
I actually had a post up yesterday, and I was, you know, celebrating the fact that I got invited to be a nail star on a cruise, and I had the phone number, all the contact information on there. And I'm not joking how many comments were like, how do we sign up? And I'm like, there's only like 25 words in this entire post, and probably 20 of them are the contact information. And I was still getting, where do we sign up? I want to go. And I was like, and when are the dates? The dates were on there. And I was just like, wow. Yeah.
There is a post. For me, I know that there's a lot of nail tech groups out there, but I spend a lot of my time in marketing and business groups, because for me, I'm a businesswoman. I feel that I am artist first, businesswoman second, nail technician third. Yes. That's the order. And I spend a lot of time in business groups and marketing groups, and I find my joy there. I enjoy that sort of process. And there's this one thing going around about, there's this one sort of meme thing going around. I'll have to try and find it, but it's very funny. And it is all about that. People just don't read anymore. We're just not getting that we're just not getting that. So, and I think that's just because life is so fast paced and we have so much information, just overload. It's like, just give it to me now, quickly. Let me just quickly message you. You'll just tell me, rather than me looking up on your website, you know? So.
But you know, it kind of goes back to nails. We can sit and watch all we want, but if they're not actually hands-on practicing it and retaining that, they're not going to get it. And they're like, I did a 3-ball method. I did this step. And then when you go live with them, like, you know, because you and I both do online workshops, and we go live and watch their technique, we're like, that's not at all the technique that I showed you. Where's your ratio? Why are you using that brush? That's not even an acrylic brush, you know, like, and so, it's interesting too, to try to help tech get to the next level. But like what you just said, we have to go through every step. Sometimes it's reading, it's visual, it's, you know, it's using all those senses to absorb it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sam, I know there's so many questions, and we're going to get to those here in just a second. In fact, I'm going to scroll up to the beginning and we'll go through the questions. But I am going to put the link to your website in our comments. Okay. So those of you that have not had a chance to stalk Sam Biddle like I have for many years, and I hate using the word stalk, but really it's kind of funny to say, but admire you for all of these years and follow you. You teach online classes, and because you're so passionate about the artwork, it's based on art. And I've seen some of it. I've been a part of your little free things that you've done. Oh my gosh, like detailed, true, hands-on, over the internet education. Wow. So what pushed you to that level to go even more?
So I loved education, and I travel for the last 5 years. Oh my gosh, I've been to so many countries. I've come home 48 hours, gone again. That's great. My body doesn't like it so much. My husband's great, but I like to be at home, but I want to connect with people. And one of the things that I find really easy is to learn online, and everybody's teaching online. So if I can put together a class that that's pre-recorded. That means that I can really sit down and teach you everything and say, look at the bead now because you can see it's going matte. Look at the bead, rather than me trying to demonstrate and everyone's not looking, or look at how my brush is laying, look at this, blah, blah, blah. And it is detailed like that. And people, I've been so amazed that I've been so amazed at how people have progressed so quickly. I thought, yes, this is going to be really cool. I'll do online classes. It means I can stay at home all the time. But actually, I've actually made such a big difference in people's artworks. And I've seen that with my I've got three ways you can learn with me online.
Okay.
One way, you can become a full lifetime member. So that means you sign up, it's a one-off payment, you get 124 lessons pre-recorded, and then you get feedback on every single lesson. So you then, they're all compact into different modules. So you'll go and you'll watch a module, do all the work, post the photo in the website, and then I'll give you a video feedback. I'll say, go do it again, try this, blah, blah, blah. I get to blow it up on screen. It's huge. I've got this massive computer in front of me. And then there's other things that happen as well. But we have a group. I have live lessons every Tuesday on non-nail related stuff. So that's on marketing, on business. My bookkeeper's going to do a little interview.
We're begging her bookkeeper to come on Tech Talk Live and share with us what we can truly tax deduct and not, because I was trying to tax deduct my coffee cup, and my pajamas for my Tech Talk Lives, and apparently you can't.
Well, coffee you could, because if you have staff, but your staff, you pay yourself a wage. But no, anyway, let's go back to online education. She's already shaking her head. So that's a different conversation. But yes, I'll force her. I'll tell her she's fired if she can't. If she doesn't do it. But anyway, we do things like that on the live lesson. So that's the membership. That I only open the doors twice a year, although next year, possibly once in the year. The reason why is because I want to work really closely at the start with the group. There's like a lot of people come at one go. I take them through, and then I open the doors again. So I have a long waiting list, and then I open the doors, and then and it's something that you only pay for once, but you get such tremendous value. But then I have the mini courses. So it's everything that's in the main course, but you don't get feedback. You can just mix and match your own education. If you're into one stroke, there's a one stroke course there, but that's not with me. I then now do the same as you, and I collaborate with other educators, and they become a guest educator. And then I go and I film them, I edit, and I put together the course, and it's hosted on my website. So you guys then can have somebody else in your living room, not just me. And then so Carol is now bringing out one stroke 2. And then I've got another guest educator, Vicky Taylor Dodds, who's doing cartoon, that's all the rage at the moment. So hand painted cartoons and 3D flat art. And then we've got Katie Barnes. She's going to be doing she's going to, in May, I think I'm filming her. She's doing shapes and something else, can't remember. So we've got all of these things happening. The third option is well, I don't like to call it a beginner's course, but I like to call it a new to nail art course. It doesn't mean that you have to be a beginner. It goes back to the basics, just what we were talking about before, because it's a way that you then can really cement your education. I have transformed dotting. Like, I've completely changed how you dot. And, I've just filmed the whole module on flowers, and I'm like, oh my God. I want to share this with everybody, but it can't. It's just for the I know. I'm so annoyed because
we do offer some free things and some free tutorials and stuff as well. I mean, so as long as we continue to follow you, we can still get some knowledge, but you're going to want to sign up for our workshops.
Because that way you get so much more value. I mean, the thing with free is a big difference between free and paid for. You get what you pay for. So I do free stuff, but I might zip it up and speed it on because it's a social media marketing ploy. And the reason why I'm posting it is to grab your attention. You then follow me. So then when I have something to sell, I can say, hey, I have something to sell. And you're like, well, I saw her free stuff. What else has she got? Or it might be that I want to sell a product. So it might be like, okay, I want to promote my pigments this month. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of free tutorials on pigments. And you guys are going to go, well, I can't possibly do this now without Sam's pigments. So you then buy my pigments.
Yeah.
Understanding the difference between a paid tutorial and a non-paid, and understanding that if you invest in education, whether it's face-to-face, as in real life face-to-face, or online, you actually give over money. So you're then going to get yourself an iPad, put yourself some time aside and work because you've just spent money.
Yeah.
Whereas free, you're like, oh, I don't really like this program. You watch it. I'll just watch this. I'll put my headphones in. But then you're watching, and then your son comes in and says, do you want a coffee? That never happens. Do you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It's you've got all of this thing happening around you that you can't. But I'm not sat at my nail desk.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I'll do that later. What was that? I've lost it. I can't find it. Then I get the message, where was that tutorial you did 3 years ago? I'm like, I don't know. You should say.
Yeah.
So,
It's so important to understand too that us as educators, or I'm an independent consultant, but the extra money that we've had to do this and the time that we've invested, we deserve to be reimbursed to share our knowledge with you. We don't have to. The freebies that we give you are one to kind of introduce you to how we teach and see if we can connect with you. And is that teacher, her voice, her technique, do I relate with that? And then, take on the free stuff. We want you to do that. You don't have to sign up for our workshops and do all of that, but we want you to know that we're here for you on a next level. And so we need to be reimbursed for the time and our education and the feedback that we can give back to you. So I think it's important to understand what you just said, that we can go on YouTube and we can get all the free education we want. But if we really want the true level of education, even if you're going to go, okay, I'm going to use Young Nails as an example, just because I did a live with Greg Salo not too long ago. And I asked him, I'm like, why all of a sudden are you all over on YouTube? And he goes, but I'm only sharing it to get the education out so that people will know what kind of text to go to. I'm not doing this so much for the text. I'm doing this for the customer to know that if your tech is not doing this, you need to find a new tech. And so their true education, though, is still paid for education. And I was like, okay, because I was really confused on why all of a sudden all these companies are going so open about their stuff. But what they're doing is they're educating the client as well.
Well, I did a blog. I do have a blog when I get time to write it. But I did this blog post about a comment that I got. I actually posted, I can't remember I think it was about the Newton Airline. It was a marketing promotion. And the comment I got was, oh, you can find all this information on YouTube. Follow Robin Moses, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember the other names. And I'm like, I replied and said, wow, thank you very much for that. I really like your support. I've invested a lot of time into getting your education perfect. But if you want to go free, you get what you pay for. And I'm like, what the hell? But I did this big blog post about it because what you say is correct. I have to pay my mortgage. I could travel the world like I have done, put on training courses. You pay £300 or £400 to come see me for a 2-day event, okay? And you see me, or maybe just one day. In England, I charge between £100 and £125. So it's about $200, $250. So you then come to my day, you spend 6 hours with me, you drive home, maybe 2 or 3 hours in the car, forget what you've just learned, can't remember what I said about holding the brush, wasted your time basically, because then you don't practice because you had to recoup the money because you then now have to do extra clients because you have to move them around, pay your babysitter or whatever it is you've got to do. You could pay me. I don't mind. I earn more money in a heartbeat by going to do face-to-face than selling £30 courses.
Yeah.
Or you can have this for life.
Yeah.
And you get me in your living room 10 times a week if you want to. Somebody said
I'd love to have you in my living room 10 times a week, but in face.
but somebody said to me, it's like having a virtual one-to-one with Sam every day of the year. And that's it. And that's exactly what it is. And especially with the membership, because it is continual feedback. Those members I mentor. It's not a case of, right, you've only got 5 or 6 times that you can ask for feedback. It's a mentoring program. So I am invested in getting them very, very high in their field so that they don't need me anymore. So I can move the next people in. That's the idea, is like, let's get them up there so I don't need to I can then get the other ones to come up underneath, and I then can retire.
Isn't it so true, though, that for us any nail tech to get the next level, we have to be inspired by somebody, by something, and we have to find the mentors. And sometimes it's finding the right ones that we connect with and that we feel like will listen, I guess. And so we always need a mentor. But even as we grow, our mentors change because they helped us to what maybe they knew, or they helped us for that. And then all of a sudden we find somebody else that can help us grow more and more. And so I think it's important to have multiple mentors in your life.
Yes, I agree with you. I do agree with you, because they connect with you when you're in that moment. And that's one thing I'm looking at now. I've got a competition coaching group that I launched. It's only quarterly, so you only sign up for 3 months. And that is proper mentoring. So that's not a course, that's not pre-recorded, that's just a group where it's mentoring. I think you do a similar thing. And then I am now putting together a competition team. So that will be another mentoring thing just for Nail Olympia in London this year, for my members. But that will be a mentoring thing. And because I like it. I like the recorded stuff because I get to play nails, but I like seeing people work, seeing how they improve, and them sending me something, and I'm like, I'm far better if I've been given a bit of inspiration to move forward than for me to come up with something.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, oh, I don't know what to write, and I'll say, well, what do you want to write? They'll tell me, I'm like, right, I can write that. That's no problem. But if they just say, just write me something, I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I see it's just great. So yeah, it's great.
All right, so I'm going to go through and do some of the comments that are on here. And one of them that Gail put on earlier is, I'm so dang happy, Neri, for education. I think what she's meaning is that she just is eager for it and just can't, handle it. I'm still the same way after all these years. I get inspired on something. Like, look how big the bubble flowers are right now.
I know. I'm desperate to try it. I'm tomorrow afternoon after my clients, I'm trying it. I've been looking at them and I've been desperate. But I want to put my spin on it.
Yeah, of course. That's the fun thing about it. We can be inspired by Pinterest and by all these other things, and we can try it the way it should look like that. But the next step is twisting it a little bit and making it our own. So it's always fun to do that. Let's see here. So Lily Crosby says, oh my word, that's amazing about the training. I need to learn the foundation in nails and how products work. Well said, Sam and Amy. That was pretty cool.
I don't know if I can see the comments. I'm worried if I go on.
Foundation in nails and how products work. Well said, Sam and Amy. You gotta love technology, huh?
I just muted it. That's all right. No,
Is that what my voice sounds like? So Sarah says, Sam is freaking amazing, not only in art, but confidence building. I love her to bits.
Oh, bless her.
Another one says, Sam's online learning is amazing. My art has improved so much, and I have a lot more passion for nail art, which I did not think was possible. And then she goes, haha. Okay, so I don't see a lot of questions on here.
I never get questions.
I think it's because we're so enthralled with you, we just want to listen. And so we're focusing on one thing at a time, and that's you. If we're asking questions and listening, we're not focused like what we just talked about.
That's true. So there's a lot of statements, isn't there?
Yeah, which is wonderful. I love the feedback. And you guys know that after the replay, we'll go through this and answer any questions. So if you're watching this like Sam and I like to do, we like to watch the replay of it and pause it if we need to, and we'll answer any questions. And I'm going to put Sam's website address in there so that you guys can follow her as well. Oh my gosh. So in like 5 minutes, we've been on for an hour. And, you know, you and I talked beforehand that anytime we go live, we're blown away by how fast something can go. And today's another perfect example of I'm not done with you yet.
That's fine. That's okay. Actually, and it's so easy to talk to you. This is easier to talk to somebody than it is to just go live. And you're looking at yourself. And there is no, but we were talking earlier about going live, and we go live in the comfort of our groups, and we know our people, and you know, I love that connection. But going live in the big bad social media is a bit more.
Yeah. So, Robin, I'm going to post on the link to Sam because she wanted to know how to get to your online classes. But Kim says, what would you tell someone that is having a hard time getting the hang of drawing lines?
So drawing lines with a brush or drawing lines with a pencil?
Well, let's talk about both.
Okay, so drawing lines with a brush. So when you, I don't have, let me see. I've got a pencil here. So we're going to,
I'll give you one.
We're going to pretend that the pencil, okay, is the brush. So for the most part, when we hold our brush, and the same applies to the pencil as well, we'll hold the brush at a 45-degree angle like this. So what happens though, okay, I have a blusher brush. What happens is when we press it down, can you see how the brush fans out? And then we pull along. So imagine that's a detailer brush. We actually have this beautiful long tapered detailer brush, but then when we press down at a 45-degree angle, it's actually going wider. So what we want to do is we want to tip our brush so it's at a 90-degree angle. So you hold it, finger down, you hold your brush, so your little finger's down like this, and you see how I'm moving my finger? So you're not trying to do this. It's very important that you don't do it freehand. You have your little finger down and that you rock. And I would practice this. And you literally touch the tip of your brush only. Now, if you're talking about getting a fine line with a brush, you want to make sure that that brush is loaded with paint. What happens is people go, oh, I have to make thin lines. So they get the smallest brush possible. Then they put the tiniest bit of paint on the end. And then they run out of paint. And then they're like, damn. So they go and they load and they go back in. And of course, the first time you put paint down, it's thicker than the last and it tapers. And you're like, this is never going to work. Load your brush. Let gravity do its job. When you are at a 90-degree angle, you will literally just be pushing the paint to the tip of your brush and then let the paint draw, or as it touches the surface, it will draw the paint through. If you're doing a line with a pencil and you need to draw a straight line, what you can do, and I'm going to do this, you put your finger to the side of your paper or book and you literally run your finger down the side of the book, and it will be like a ruler, and then it will create a nice straight line. So, but I suspect it's probably fine lines with a brush that you're good at.
However, you explained both of those very well, and thank you for that. We appreciate all the tips that that we can have on here.
That would be probably the most common thing that I see people do wrong. That's the one thing I teach over and over and over again, wherever I am, because it is definitely just about the angle of the brush and, of course, the type of paint that you use. If you're using a cheap paint that you get from Hobby Lobby or Hobby Crafts or whatever, that's not highly pigmented, that you don't pay a lot of money for, because you've got to pay for what you get. Although I have to say our Be Creative paints are very highly pigmented and very reasonably priced. But then you can't dilute it. So then when you dilute it with water, because you need to have a a nice thin viscosity,
Right.
then you have to go over it a few times, and then you're going to, oh my gosh, that's more stress. So you want a highly pigmented paint that you can dilute, that you can then get a nice, clean, crisp line. So.
Yeah. I find too that a lot of people don't know how to take care of their brush. So for instance, the whole time they're using the paint, they're able to go in and do it gentle in one stroke and all that kind of stuff. But as soon as they clean it at the end, they go like this and swash it into whatever, or acetone, and go like that. And then they don't understand why their bristles don't stay. I'm like, well, okay, I think that's part of it. So do you have any tips on how to care for your brush?
Yes, definitely. Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I don't have a glass, I have a video on this. Literally, if you, in fact, you can test this out yourself. Get a glass, fill it up with water, get your paintbrush and swish it around. Then get your paintbrush and twirl it around the edge of the glass and see how much paint comes off. So you're literally spinning the brush around the edge of the glass, and you'll see how much more paint comes out. So it's pointless swishing. You're literally just wiping it along the edge of the glass. Then you dry it, and you dry it, you twist as you, oh, hold on. You twist as you dry, and you can't even see what I'm doing. You twist, dry, you twist as you dry. The same for an acrylic brush as well. Mm-hmm. If you have a brush that is misbehaving, hot boiling water, like steaming hot water, like I have a kettle that has 85 degrees and 100 degrees. 100 degrees, boiling water, and then you literally suspend your brush in the boiling water for, I don't know, a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and it will just right itself. You don't need to use acetone. Please do not use acetone. Alcohol you can use because that evaporates, but acetone doesn't, and it will dry the brush out. But alcohol as a last resort. And that's not vodka, that's isopropyl alcohol. So yeah, but that's it. So hot boiling water, alcohol, and you're good.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes we do have to just throw that brush away. We try to save it. We cut off all the bristles. The glue's starting to expose the bristles. Every time we use it, you know what? The brushes, they're worth it. Go get yourself a new brush sometimes.
I actually have a brush graveyard. I cannot throw my brushes away. I just can't. But I never use them again. They are literally, I have a pencil case, and I've got 4 brushes in the zip pouch of my pencil case, which are dead. I just can't. And then when I'm at home and I'm repacking to go on a trip, I've got to go to Abu Dhabi next week. So I'll have to repack my pencil case, and I'll put those brushes in my graveyard, which is the bottom. I literally have a drawer full of brushes that are dead. And every so often I go through them, and I don't know why. I have so many brushes.
I think we create a connection with them because we use them for so many creative outlets that I honestly think we get a feel and a connection on these brushes, and it's hard for us to let go of that.
I will walk into a show, into a classroom. If somebody is selling, I have my own brush, which is like the best brush on the market, if I might say so. But I will walk into that room, I will buy brushes. Like I buy shoes, I'll just buy brushes. I don't need them. I've got brushes that aren't even out of the packets that I will never use. Just in case. I might need them, just in case.
I love it. I love it, love it. So a lot of people are agreeing that they've used the hot water trick as well. And it says, is that only used for natural nail brushes, or can it be used on synthetic brushes as well?
No, don't do
yeah, I wouldn't. I think it would melt them, wouldn't it?
No, don't do that. And don't use the alcohol might work. The alcohol does work on. Don't use synthetic brushes. I don't know why you're using a synthetic brush in the first place. Whoever's using a synthetic brush, sorry, but stop. The only reason why you would use a synthetic brush would be for gel. That would be the only possible reason you would use one. Because the reason why you use a natural hair brush is because natural hair is porous. So what happens is it opens up when you put it in the water, each like your hair, and it just absorbs the water and holds it so much better. Whereas on a piece of plastic, You dip it in water, it's not going to sit on it. It's going to pour off. So you will never get, and also a synthetic brush is stiffer, so you don't get the bend that you might need, and you don't get the flow.
Yeah.
Just don't.
There is a big difference in that.
Massive, like really, really massive. The other thing, I had a little idea of what to tell you just a minute ago about the brushes. I've forgotten what it was now. About the natural hair and damn. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It was like I must tell him that. But yeah, synthetic. The gel would be the only reason why you'd use a synthetic brush, really.
Okay. Yeah, that's great knowledge. So Louise wants to know, where can we go to get brushes? So go ahead and plug it in.
So I personally would say that the orange brush is the best brush on the market, only because I have sweated blood, sweat and tears to get that brush perfect. I am particularly OCD and particularly I'm a bit of a control freak. So I like my brush to be the brush I want. So the orange brush is the only brush I use. I have one for gel and I have one for acrylic. I use it for everything. The most finest detail, I'll use it. The thicker lines, I'll use it. I don't even bother. I will walk into a classroom with the orange brush and that's the only thing I will use. Obviously, if I'm using pigments, I won't use it for pigments.
And so how can people order this brush?
So you can get it on my website. So sambiddle.co.uk is the product website. So I have a small range of products. Now that website isn't the best at the moment. It's being redone. I've got two websites. I have sambiddle.co.uk, which is for my products. And that is, you can buy stuff like the pigments. And I was one of the first people to bring pigments to the market. The nail art pen that we spoke about earlier, the orange brush, which is a hallelujah moment. Every time anyone's used the orange brush, they're like, oh, wow, I can do art. It's infused with Sam Biddle magic. But then you've got sambiddle.online, and that is all my online courses. That is my face-to-face courses that I'm not doing anymore. I'm not going to do any more face-to-face unless they're really juicy. I'm only online presently. And then I've got my book is on there. My ebooks are on there. There's other stuff I can't remember, but there's all good stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there. And you'll be able to find links on both of those websites to my YouTube channel, which has got the free, there's two of them. There's Be Creative Worldwide and Be Inspired, or is it Sam Biddle? There might just be Sam Biddle. There's two YouTube channels.
Okay. So maybe if you share those with me, or you can post them in the comments as well, then people can find that on there.
Yes, I can definitely.
We can get that on there. So Sam, while we still have you, I always like to ask some sort of an oddball question. And so I was kind of thinking, and it still comes back to this, you've been very inspirational over these years and obviously very fun. So do you have a fun fact about you that nobody else would really know that you can share with us?
Fun fact that no one would know. Fun.
So for instance, what's that?
I swear a lot. I think I say that a lot. I'm very naughty. I am so naughty, I can't tell you. I am. I have to be professional. In fact, Anthony said to me once, he said, I'm a bit of a rebel and I don't like injustice. I really don't like it. But he said to me, Sam, you will never be able to work for a brand or a company in the way that you want because you are not a company man.
Oh.
And I took it and I was like, yes, because I don't want to be a company man. I want to be my own person, and I am, but I don't know if that's a fun fact.
It is a fun fact. And it's so true that, I think a lot of times us nail techs, so we want to be a nail tech. And at some point in time, we kind of get the goal where we want to be a salon owner, but we have to realize is that's two total different hats. So yes. Being the salon owner, being the boss, being your bookkeeper, being that, is totally different. And that there are some of us, I was a salon owner for 24 years, actually 26, because I'm still a salon owner, but I'm a solo tech now. So I don't have, the team of girls that I always had. So my responsibilities have changed. But you have to know that sometimes it's worth it just to be the tech in somebody else's salon and not take on the other hat. And sometimes you wear that hat really well and you should be the salon owner. And so you just touched base. Your fun fact actually led into another topic that we could talk hours about, the differences in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to, I think you have to understand, I think for one thing that I realized in my career is that I will do what I want to do, what makes me happy. I do not worry about other people, about brands, about what anyone else is doing, about whether that person is doing what I'm doing or whatever. Even if the new salon opens in your very next door, they will never be able to provide what you can provide. Right. There's so many people that do online education. You provide a very different type of online education. But even if we did the same exact thing, you're going to connect with different people to me. And there's room for everybody. I really don't mind. And that's the one thing that has made me the happiest, is understanding my truth and allowing other people to see my truth. And that's it. Nothing else is there. I'm here. This is me. I am as I am. I will do what I want to do. And if I don't like you, I won't entertain you. That's the way it is, And my life's too short.
I love that you're real about it, though. And that's what it takes, is so many times we get into, for instance, this whole time, you haven't just talked about your own product line. You've been like, oh, well, this product line and stuff like that. What I like is that you're real about that. And I think that that's what helps us connect with more people, is that they don't see us as being so salesy. Like, we're definitely there for the education first. And then if you have your own products and stuff like that, then the sales can be added to that, but you're not pushing the sales first. And so I think that helps people connect a little bit more.
Well, yes. And to be fair, I never have been I can sell, but I don't want to sell. I want to teach and inspire, and I want to see people grow. But I have a business partner. She's the salesperson. She does all that selling stuff. And that's why I have her as a business partner, because she can do all that. And all I need to do is play with the stuff and develop it and make it. Mm-hmm. But no, and I also, selling and products isn't my truth. It's not who I am. Again, the products are an accident. I had the products. I'm using the products. People are going, where did you get them? I'm a businesswoman. I will not apologize for that. And I'm like, I'm not sending them to that person when I can do it myself. Yeah. So that's how it happened. I've been in business since I was, I got married at 8. So I left her in business since I was 18. I had my own business. Yeah. I've had my own business since then. I've never been employed by anyone else. I was temping for a little while, and I was even told when I was temping that I would never be employed. Because I was telling them what they were doing wrong.
I'm actually going to go live later on today, and I'm going to share the same thing, but I'll share it here now. I've learned actually from my son's basketball coach when he was young that I never understood. Like, my son was an excellent player, and they put him on the A team, but every now and then they put him on the B team. And my son was like, Mom, I'm on the B team today. I'm playing for the B team. And so what you realize is when you play for the A team, you're always being challenged. There's always competition. There's always somebody else that wants to be that star. So it does make you grow and make you push, but it's a constant pushing all the time to stay on the A team. Or would you rather step back a little bit, be you, not be pushed so much, and be the star of a B team that you don't have to always push? And if you make a mistake, you don't let the whole team down because they can relate. So I would rather be on the B team any day than be pushed so much on the A team.
Well, and also you have room then to grow, and you're not constantly watching your back, or because there was the one thing that I used to hate the most was the politics within the industry. I don't have it now. I don't have that now. But or I would go to a show, or I would go do educator training, or all of those things, and it would be the politics. And the reason why I hated it was because I wanted to be there where they were. And because I was constantly trying to be there, and everyone else was also trying to be there, it was so stressful. And it was like, everybody was like, oh, what is she saying? Oh, look, so-and-so's in. I've got to go and talk to that person because maybe they can give me something, or whatever it was. When I decided that I did not want to be there, I wanted to be here in this moment right now. Oh, I've had so much fun. The ideas come, and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Nothing matters. And now I'll now go to a show, and I'll be beating my own drum. And if they don't like me, they won't ask me back. It's fine. And I'll go to a class. I'll go to, when I get educated, because with Orly, we have regular education. I go and I get to meet my Orly family, and I learn some new stuff. But I'm not going there to get anything. I don't need to be anywhere, because I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Mm-hmm. Even if I just knew this back then, I would have been so much further. You know what I mean? I would have been even further than I am now if I knew this back then.
Yes.
I would have been able to find my rhythm and live within my rhythm, and find what made me, what I would be able to find the things that made me good, rather than trying to do the things that everyone else was doing because I thought that's what I needed to do. And I have to say I'm the happiest that I've ever been here and right now, because I am living my truth. I just wish you would understand that. Yeah.
I love it. Sam, just keep talking. What you're saying right now, and when we come from the heart and stuff like that, it touches so many people. And you're right. We forget that we need to be present. And once again, we were talking about all the social media, and that we're trying to listen. We're trying to videotape everything at the same time. We're driving. We have the mountain scenery. That's the most beautiful scenery. But we're so focused on trying to capture that on the phone that we lost sight of something. And so what you said about being in the moment and being real in the moment, that it's touching. And we kind of forget that sometimes. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Came from somewhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so much like what you said earlier, if we just kind of knew that years ago, be able to live a little bit more and be happier. However, that's not, we can always look back in hindsight and be able to say, oh, I should have done this.
My husband would say, I'll be like, oh, if only you'd be like, let it go.
Yeah. So true. Well, Sam, I just checked it. There's just so much love on the screen for you and everything that you've been saying and stuff. And so, once again, as questions come along, we'll answer any of the questions. But as for today and joining us on Tech Talk Live, I appreciate you so much. And I'm so thankful that you gave up more than an hour of your time and shared knowledge and life. And just thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. I have actually loved it very much. So I will come back. So, and thank you everybody for watching. And apparently we get a link, so I'll be able to share this. So that'll be really cool. I have no idea what we talked about. I'll have to watch the replay. Because it's just like, when you go out to dinner with a friend and then you're in the car and you're like, oh, what did we talk about? Did we talk about it? Because it's just like, so yeah, it's been a bit like that. And all the things that I'm like, right, I must talk about this, and I must do that, and I must do that, because my business break. Well, I didn't. So it doesn't matter. And this is what it's like on the members program, just an FYI. Just so you know, it is as real as it can possibly be, because, and I try not to, but I'm sure my members will say whether or not I swear on my classes. I don't think I do. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, I love it. And you know what? Continue just being you. I love watching you for many years of my career, and I can only know that from now on, it's still only going to be, that I can find you. If I Google you or anything like that, I'm going to be able to find that you're still continuing to inspire for many years to come. So thank you for being you and putting yourself out there, because I well know that going live and doing videos, we are looked at in so many different ways. Sometimes, like I mentioned before, the last live I did, they're like, did you do your own hair? And the whole time I'm talking about nails, I'm like, are you listening? Or yeah, are those your real lashes? And yeah. and so I love the connection of that, though. That stuff does not bother me. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, am I not talking enough to the right words, that they are kind of ignoring what I'm saying and they're distracted by something else? And so the fun part about that is all the replays that we can do in the way that social media is. But putting ourselves out there to the public like this is very trying sometimes. And, then we have to deal with computers, and you have to deal with internet, and you have to deal with lighting, and you have to deal with, all the stuff that goes with that, and hope that you can connect with the people that are watching and that you can teach them something. It's big and it's a lot, but I'm thankful for it.
No, it is huge. I mean, if you could have seen the office today when I'm doing my videoing, it's not on a phone. I have a decent setup and a screen, but it's investment, because this is my business. Yeah. And then I've spent probably 6 hours filming. I'll spend 2 weeks editing it, and all of that time, or I'll pay somebody to edit. All of that time, it's all of that investment. It's not just a case of me grabbing a phone and sticking it out there, because I need to make sure that you see it from 2 angles, that you get really into what I'm doing and my head's not in the way, so because that happens. But it is big, and but I have to say I like it. I'm not, it is, but when you then put yourself out on social, or you put yourself out there, you're like, okay, I've done all this work, it's taken me 3 weeks, and buy it.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
I hope I connect to the people that I'm trying to. That's the hardest part, is you never know sometimes who you're connecting to. So I always appreciate the ones that give me all this feedback, whether it's good or bad or whatever it is. I appreciate their honesty, because like you are, we're being honest and we're just sharing who we are. This isn't scripted. This is all just go for it. And we make mistakes too. Yeah.
No, it's nice. I've enjoyed it. It's been lovely. It's been good as always. It's I do like this. I haven't even looked at the I haven't even looked. Somebody just said no swearing, but I haven't even looked at any of the comments. I'll have to sit and do that. I'll say to John, you can watch something trashy on the TV while trashy.
I love it. Well, Sam, thanks again for joining us today. And I know that your bookkeeper's there in the background, and we're going to continue to bully and try to get her to come on and beg for her to come on and share some knowledge with us. But if not, we'll do it through you. You can hear the questions, ask, we'll go back and forth. We'll make it happen.
I said to her, she says, oh, I don't know. I said, look, you'll be sat here next to me, just be me and you. So if she does it with my members, then she'll think, oh, I can do this. And then I'll sit her here in this office, and I'll sit over there, and then she'll be able to do it for you.
Hey, we'll make this happen.
Yes,
like I said, we'll bully and beg our way through.
Claire, this might be a whole new thing for you. That's it. Oh my gosh, you might be so addicted with it, you'll be like, can I go on again?
Yeah.
Create a monster.
I'll be creating a monster.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us live and asking so many questions, and obviously giving Sam so much love over the screen. Thank you guys so much for that. And like we said, if there's any questions, we'll go back and answer them. I'll get the links put onto all of Sam's websites here in just a moment. And thank you, Sam. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye, everybody.